You are live. Am I? This one, just a quick reminder. Quick, is it? Yeah, we'll make it quick. You have state management techniques, and I've spoken about them on this channel. The first time was like 3 years ago, and then I kind of stopped with the implicit assumption that it's so basic and so critical that you don't need reminding. I'm just going to bore you with like, this is some white belt shit. We know all that. Let's like give us something new to chew over, something that's fascinating for the mind. And I was looking at the comments. I haven't been online for 3 days. Thank you, Jesus. And I was looking at the comments 3 days ago, and I was thinking, this feels like some people just don't feel good, like they're not feeling right. And then they're on social media and in comments like trying to sort of alter their state. It's a really, really crap way of altering your state. Not ineffective. Like, it can be done. It's a really impure, corrupting, dirty way of trying to get your state altered by using social media and commenting and getting in arguments with people. It's really not a great thing to do. State management, the basics of state management. I remember with humility, I'm a biological entity. I'm an animal. And my mind and my body are interrelated. They're in a feedback with each other. If I feel good in my body, I'm going to feel better in my mind and better in my emotions. And if I feel bad in my mind, bad in my body, if I feel bad in my mind, vice versa. You know, it's like a loop. The body affects the mind. Where the mind goes, the body will follow. And then where the body goes, the mind will follow. Drink water. Drink water. Stay hydrated. Outside. Get some fresh air. Take exercise. Eat well. Eat good food that supports your health, that supports your digestive system. Bearing in mind, a lot of very important things happen for us psychologically, at a hormonal level, begin in the gut. Get sleep. Now, like, listen, I struggle with sleep. I really do. The discipline I'm trying to stick to at the moment is sleep before 12 and then awake just slightly before 8 with no breaks to sleep right the way through. You will be saner. You will be less anxious. You will be less prone to depression. You'll be less prone to anger. You'll be less prone to all of the CPTSR trauma responses when you sleep, when you just sleep deep and long and let the body and the brain and the hormonal system recover from the wear and tear of the day, from the stresses and strains of just being alive and being a human being. And the food that you eat, the timing of the food and the type of food you eat has a massive impact on your sleep. These little bits and pieces, you know, some people need meditation. Some people need yoga. I find I need to go to the gym, and I need to be in the gym for a fairly hard session, like 4 or 5 times a week, or I just am not right. My tolerance for alcohol, for some reason, at this point in my life, has really, really, really shrunk. Really shrunk. I used to find I could have like 2 drinks. Not a big drinker. It's never been my weapon of choice. But recently, I've tried just having like 2 drinks, and I don't feel psychologically good at the time. And then the next day, I don't feel good. So, you know, things change. You age. You change. You can develop allergies over time. Your tastes can change. There might be a particular emotional state. Say for alcohol, there might be an emotional state that I previously would, or a physiological state that I would hit, and I'd be like, this feels good. I'm hitting exactly the same physiological state, and now I'm like, this doesn't feel good. I don't like this. I don't want to feel numb. I don't want to feel disconnected. I like to feel associated. I want to be present, and this feeling of dissociation isn't right with me. Whatever. Who knows? It's not. Too much navel gazing also isn't great. It's enough to go, I'm marking this. I don't actually feel good. I'm not going to do this anymore. TV is not making you feel good. Reduce it. social media, video games, tech usage, earn screen time on your phone so that you know who the machine will tell you you've been looking at me for too long today. It's actually the one single thing that's been messing my eyes up to the point where I needed glasses. Wasn't working on the laptop. It was trying to work through the phone and trying to read people's emails on my phone for hours and hours and hours and hours and days and days and days that accumulates and affects the eyes. And I'd look up from my phone and I'd be like, holy shit, I can't see at the mid-range. I can't see stuff that's like 15 feet away from me. It's super blurred. And when I stopped doing that, I find I need glasses less. It's learning yourself. Learn who you are, not me. What works for me isn't going to be you. You're unique. You're a unique and precious snowflake. You're unique. The exact permutations of what you need, you are unique. It's important to call forth the time and the attention and the mental and psychic focus to say, I need something. I need less of this. Oh, that's the other thing I'm finding, like city life. It's over for me. It's over for me. Because when I went away and I came back, I'm like, okay, this is now a problem. This is a problem. Again, I don't know if it's because I've hit a certain age, you hit a threshold and you go, that's it, I'm out. Or if I just ignored it before. Whatever it is for you, whatever it is for me, whatever it is for that person, that's your thing. That's what you need. Codependency, when we're using it in the term that we all understand in the online community that we have created, no, we're not using it the way Alcoholics Anonymous uses. Strictly speaking, it's like an umbrella term. It's shorthand for fawning, for the annihilation of the self for the benefit of a tyrannical figure. It's shorthand, codependency, a codependent fawning or echo, like Narcissist and echo. One of the things for overcoming this codependency is the focus for 2019 for me is reversing the flow. You have this electrical current. I have this electrical current that's flowed through me in my whole life a certain way. Psychic energy, and I'm not being woo. I'm being semi-woo. I'm being Jungian level woo. Like, we don't have another word for it in English. You have a certain amount of mental energy, a certain amount of psychological energy, a certain amount of energy in the psyche, referred to as psychic energy. It moves in a certain way. That's what he meant by introvert and extrovert, by the way. An extrovert is not somebody who's yelling and shouting all the time, though it may manifest that way. And an introvert is not necessarily shy. I'm an introvert, but I'm not shy. It's where you draw energy from, psychic energy from, and what exhausts your psychic energy. That's the key to introversion and extroversion. People exhaust me. Being around people, it exhausts my psychic energy. Silence and aloneness builds my psychic energy. So therefore, I'm an introvert. We have something called psychic energy, and it's finite. It's a finite amount of mental power. And to give it away to the wrong things is a mistake. Codependency causes that same psychic energy to flow in a certain way. When you've lived your whole adult life, you're 55, you're 65, you could be 75 years old. 75 years, the energy has flowed this way. Now I'm saying, you're saying, we're saying, you've got to stop. It can't flow that way anymore. And you go, but this is what's comfortable. I'm comfortable fawning. I'm comfortable self-annihilating. I'm comfortable having no ego. I'm just being like, no, not me, you. Always you, never me. And I'm saying, no, the route to overcoming codependency, because I'm a crude mechanic of psychology. I do blue collar psychology. I do street psychology. I'm going, oh, it's all about you and never about me. What's the solution? The opposite would be to say, oh, it needs to be about me sometimes. Oh, and then you do this and you go, you switch it and you look at it and you go, wow, that's scary. I've never lived like that before. And then the child comes up and you go, I'm scared now. I'm really anxious. You want me to put me forward? You want me to be present? If I'm present and I'm put forward, I could be hurt. I'm now vulnerable because I'm asking for what I want, and I'm coming, if you go to yoga and you get like a particularly mystical yoga teacher who'll say all weird stuff to you during the session, It'll be like on certain poses, they'll say lead heart forward. Instead of saying just like open your chest and stretch your spine, they'll be like heart forward, heart open, heart forward. And I'll always have a little giggle at that. But there's something to it. Because physiologically, if you are chest up and your viscera, your internal organs forward, you're saying, I have no fear. I don't have fear. My organs are exposed. Your sabered teeth may rend my flesh asunder, and I fear not. Whereas this is like, you know, uncovering and arching the spine and tilting the head forward, which is exactly what this makes us do. I must kneel before the god of tech, and obsequious and fawning to that. Not good. So part of the state management is becoming aware of your physiology. Really key. What's going on for me physically? Am I getting outside? Am I dancing? Am I moving? Do I need to run? I'm back doing kickboxing. It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful experience. Put me little headphones on and I really punch and kick the bag a lot. And it's spiritually beautiful for me. Nice moment. Might not be for you. It might be something else. It might be walking the dog in the woods. It might be going to the beach. It might be whatever it is. That's you. That's your thing. Don't be like, oh, that's just some silly thing I need to do. But really, my job is as a slave and serving other people. No, that's you. That's you. That's who you are. So put that in your day. Prioritize it. Reverse the flow and move that forward. Jack Black voice kills me. I can't do it if I don't know what a Jack Black voice is. You'll have to like screen, you'll have to timestamp it. Because if you said do a Jack Black voice, I'd get it wrong. Have you seen the documentary about R. Kelly? R. Kelly? Where's R. Kelly been? Who's R. Kelly? What are you saying about R. Kelly? Where I'm from, when you say our, it means our family member. And Kelly is a reasonably popular name in Liverpool. So I think it's funny whenever somebody mentions R. Kelly to say, what are you saying about R. Kelly? Because it would mean like, you know, our cousin Kel. No, I haven't seen the documentary about R. Kelly. I'm going to have to, aren't I? And then I'm also going to have to never listen to Remix to Ignition in my car at full blast, aren't I? They're going to take that away from me. They're going to take it away from me like they took Thriller away from me. I'm not going to be able to listen to anything anymore because the world is just dissolving into violence and evil. I will watch the R. Kelly documentary, but I'm going to be so sad. It's like one of my favorite car driving songs. It's going to go the way of Thriller. I fucking know it is. Anybody has any questions? Now is the time to ask me, and then I'm going to sign off. I'm just doing a quick one. Sarah says, I just discovered you from the Wirral and ran away 10 years ago. The Wirral, Insula and Peninsula. Escape. I saw the interview with Gail, and Gail handled the interview with R. Kelly so well. I'll have to check that out. Richard, can I ask my question again? Perhaps I don't want to spam it. Go ahead, Cottonmouth, you naughty snake, you. From Sweden. Hey, Sam. I loved your CPTSD videos. Okay, this will be the last question I do, guys, and then I have to go. I have a class to go to. I can't wait. Disabled. Okay, so I'm disabled due to multiple sclerosis. Do you think this might be some kind of narcissist magnet? Because I genuinely feel I attract them at this point. I am not a medical professional. Let me say first before I give you the answer. There does seem to be, based solely on my anecdotal observation, relationship, a very definite relationship between emotional abuse at the hands of a cluster B and certain illnesses. So like it can cause an illness, and then the illness actually attracting some cluster Bs. And beyond that, to make a woo point. Like, I will go into the foothills of woo. There seems to be some of us. Narcissist magnet, probably not the best way of describing it, but I appreciate I love a good simplified word narrative. So narcissist magnet is good because it's simplified. It's a way of using words in a way that's simple. We got to be careful then that we don't go, oh, no longer my responsibility. I'm just a magnet. I'm this inanimate object. So there seems to be a number of us for whom we have a lesson to be learned again and again, and we just have, it's like a superpower. It's attracting exactly the wrong type of people who, to make the woo point, may be exactly the right type of people. This is kind of a black belt nuanced point I'm making here. I'm not talking law of attraction. I'm not talking about soul contracts or, you know, victim blaming, like you just get what you're supposed to get. My point is, we're just talking Western psychology. How the fuck do so many people keep finding exactly the same personality disorder again and again and again? Because they're not that common. That kind of MPD is just not that common. You are saying, how do I find them? As I've done the same thing. I'm like, really, they're like a needle in a haystack. They're not that common, because I'm hanging around, you know, despite the fact having just said I'm an introvert, I do make myself talk to people. I'm like, nobody has this. It really, to me, in my recent experience, it really has been like one person in hundreds of people have gone, yeah, I think this person is sick in that way. It's so rare. So, but throughout my life, how did I always find that one person? It's an interesting question. I don't have the answer for you. As it pertains to illness, all I can say is anecdotally, there seems to be some kind of a relationship there. Yeah. So really, I only gave you acknowledgement of the issue rather than an answer, but hopefully that will have been helpful, Cottonmouth. Thank you for asking the question. What class are you going to? I'm going to Patata class, mate. I'm going to do Patata. I'm looking for Cottonmouth just to see if she said that was useful. It seems to constantly be a covert. Okay, so right, my last point, and then I really have to go. Why don't you, if you're online, go on Google Scholar and look up fragile or vulnerable in word, and have a look at some of the literature and see what people have said, psychologists have said, about, because online we say covert, and some clinicians say covert. When I last looked at the literature, it was more common to see vulnerable or fragile, especially the older literature. Sometimes the older literature is really good. Sam Vaknin got me to read The Mask of Sanity, which is published in 1942. It's so nice to read. I mean, he's a good author. He's actually really funny. He's a psychiatrist. It was actually quite a funny book. It's got this wry sense of humor. You just like, it's just so free of stuff and ideas. A very clean view of psychopathy. If you go back and you look at some of the old texts, they have less presupposition and less assumption and less weight of narrative behind them, and you might find that useful. And then I would be saying, well, who in your childhood looked like that, and what are we trying to resolve? You know, what is it that we're trying to resolve? Is the vulnerable, fragile, and coming to you because you're supposed to save them? Are they coming to you to be mothered? Are you playing mummy in their lives? Are they dumping energetically their stuff in your lap so that they don't have to, so that they can remain in their infantile happy-dappy land whilst you carry it, even as you're carrying illness as well? Is that, you know, this is where I would be exploring into, so that we can get to some kind of a sense of a root cause and go, oh, okay, here's my issue. I need to understand that some people act like they're victims that need help, That's their game. They're actually just vulnerable predators. And it's not my job to help them, because I'm not here to save the world, because I don't have a messiah complex, because, you know, I'm not a spiritual guru or a prophet. I'm just some dude or just a dudette. That's it. You just go, wow, obviously something bad happened to you in childhood and that sucks, but I only have one life. You know, and sort of being able to permit the release of the responsibility of trying to save that person. In nomine Patris, et Filius, et Spiritus Sancti, te absolvo, te absolvo. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and attention. It's time to dance.